Hi everybody, welcome back to Living Our American Dream. Matt here. Today's video is going to be about modifying a tractor implement, and I can't find anywhere on the internet or locally that sells what I'm about to make. So stay tuned and I will explain what it is and how it can be very useful to a lot of people. All right, so I bought this set of forks specifically for my tractor being a compact tractor, not a subcompact, but a compact. It's 35 horsepower, hydrostatic transmission. It's got roughly 30 horse at the PTO, four-wheel drive. The loader can lift roughly 1,000 pounds, and I wanted a lightweight set of pallet forks that would not reduce my lifting capacity because of the forks being so heavy. So as you can see on here, these are 1,800 pound rated, so plenty for my machine. They're small, they're lightweight, and they attach via the skid steer quick attach system. Okay, most tractors have this standard. It's definitely an option for almost any tractor now. To the back of the tractor, we see another quick attach detach mechanism in a quick hitch. Now I chose the John Deere one. John Deere and Land Pride, the dimensions are the same from the top link to the bottom connections and the width across the bottom. So it doesn't matter what you get. This John Deere iMatch or the quick hitch made by Land Pride are the same. So most of us know that the back of our tractor, the 3-point hitch connection on our tractor, can lift more weight than the front loader, typically. In this tractor, it's about 50% more. It's pretty considerable. So when I'm hauling heavy loads that I just need to move from one spot to another, sometimes if it's a heavy load, it's less wear and tear on the tractor to use the 3-point hitch. So I've been using a carry-all frame, not this one, but it's one of these frames right here, just one without anything built on it, as a set of rear forks. Now, those are rated for, I want to say 1,000 pounds. Problem is they're made out of angle iron. So when you look at this is 3x3 angle iron down here. And it's too tall of a profile to get in where forks typically need to go. Additionally, it's only 3 feet long. It's 3 feet minus the few inches that you lose right here, so you're really only utilizing about 30 inches of length, and it's not ideal. So all that being said, the point of this video is to make a set of pallet forks that can attach on the front, skid steer quick attach, and also be utilized in the quick hitch system. So we are going to do that right now. So turning around in the shop, let's come over here and see what I've got going on. I purchased another set of lightweight pallet forks. This is the frame. I've taken the forks off of it. It is rated for 2,000 pounds, very similar to the last one. It's made in the United States. Actually, it's made here in Michigan. And I've removed the forks that go on here. So the forks would typically stick out this way. So our skid steer quick attach system is back here. Okay, we've got the slots down here and the top that gets engaged by the top of the quick attach system. And the reason that I purchased this one is it's got all this space in here. Okay, so what we're gonna do, and matter of fact, I'm gonna set the camera up so I can explain it. So what we're gonna do with this is I've purchased some rather thick pieces of steel here, and this particular setup is parallel. It's got a nice thick 3/8 thick piece of steel on the bottom and up here on this top rail. We're gonna cut these 1/2-inch bars to fit in between here, and we're going to weld one up on each side in the appropriate dimension. Then we're gonna, well, first we're gonna drill the hole so that it's in the right spot, but we're gonna mount this pin at the right elevation so that I can get my hook for the quick attach in there, which is 4.5 inches above the bottom, okay? So we're gonna have these pins here, and they will be fixed. They will be in between where the fork travels and where the SSQA needs to go. So there's a space, there's about 2.5 inches of space in there. So we're gonna mount this pin, one on each side, inside here. Now to make the vertical dimension work, let me modify my view here a little bit. To make the vertical dimension work out, and as I sketched this on a drawing here, we have to be, from the bottom of these pins to the bottom of this pin has to be 15 inches. And where I figured that out, my 4.5 plus 15, call it 20, just using round numbers, my pin has to be about right here. Now, knowing that the hook for the top link has to be able to go in here and then lift up. Same thing on the bottom, it has to go in and lift up. I'm gonna have to notch this out, okay? So looking on the other side of here, there isn't anything that's gonna be in our way. I have to stay enough room that the forks can pass through the bottom of here, but I can notch the top of this out. And I bought this plate. We're gonna cut two pieces of plate and weld them in there and create a gap that I can put a pin through. And that pin is gonna serve as the top link. And this is a pretty simple setup. It's a pretty simple idea, and I asked around quite a while trying to find a place that just made this for me, and I couldn't find anything. I can't believe these guys that make all these forks. Pallet forks for tractors is really popular now. And by the way, if you're watching this video and you don't have a set of pallet forks for your tractor, you don't know it yet, but you need a set of pallet forks for your tractor. It's really, really useful, and once you have them, you'll never go back. All right, you can start to see things coming together now. I've got the hole drilled, I've got the pin mounted up, the spacing is right for my bushings. Now what I did is I took a little piece of angle iron, it gives me a nice 90-degree angle here, and I mounted it with a C-clamp through the back side here onto this flat surface here. Then I took the other C-clamp and mounted my new piece here, so I've got a nice 90-degree angle here. If I stand back, looks nice and square. Everything should be lined up real nice. Now I'll double check the top measurement up here, top to top, just to make sure that that's straight before I completely weld it up. But where I've got it right now, I'm gonna tack weld it into place so I can pull all of this hardware off the bottom, get the other one set, we'll tack weld it into place, and if everything looks good, we should be able to weld it out, and then we can start working on the top. Now remember, the top we got to notch out. Okay, so I welded this up, and I've got it sitting over here by the tractor. We're gonna do a test run right here. It looks nice. It looks nice and straight and strong. So let me set you guys up. We'll see if we can get a test run here just to make sure the bottom links are gonna work. So let's throw some gloves on. This will give us an idea of how high we gotta go for our top measurement, see how close my engineering work was. Clearance is good. Fitment is good. All right. So we got our pins in, all welded out. Now I haven't painted anything yet, but I'll paint that before we're done here. So next step is to line this up in the middle. It's about right here.
And we have to notch this out far enough so that when I sit this thing on here, I've got enough clearance underneath to clear the hook and then latch it, and then we need a pin. And I think that pin, as a matter of fact, we know that pin is going to be about right here. All right, guys, so our bushing up top, so we're going to notch out the top of the pallet forks, and then we're going to cut a piece of this 1/4x4, 2 pieces of it, so that it can sit in the slot like this. And we're going to have a hole in it where this bolt can come through here. Okay, then we're going to have it through one side, then the bushings, then the other side. So the spacing between our pieces of steel has to be 2 inches, and then the steel that we have is 1/4 inch. Just double check that. Yep, I bought 1/4 inch. So 2 pieces of 1/4 is a 1/2, plus 2 inch spacing is 2.5. So our gap, our notch, needs to be 2.5 inches wide, and then clearance was 5 inches down from where the pin location was, which I measured and already marked that bottom when it was on the tractor. All right, guys, so like I said, we've notched out the top of this. Now I used a combination of a cutoff wheel on here. It's got the grinding wheel on it now, but I used a cutoff wheel and I used a reciprocating saw. And the plan, let me put you guys back in the tripod and I'll show you the plan. Okay, so I've got us back in the quick hitch, and now you can see I no longer hit right here, but the key is going to be able to get inside here. That 5 inches right there will get me inside that pin. So what we're going to do is hold our steel pieces up here, and what we want to do is tip this away just a little bit so it's not touching the metal in here, because then if anything moves as I weld it, it might not fit. So we're going to space this out by a 1/4 inch. I'm actually going to go get a shim to do that, a wood shim, and then I'll hold these in place. And what I'll do is put the bushing inside of one of these and draw a circle around it. That way I know what I'll do is hold the bushing in there and draw a circle around it so I know where my hole needs to be. Now you can see down in here, I don't need this square part right here. So what's going to happen is I'm going to end up drawing a line and cutting the corner of this right off of here, because it's not really providing any strength. But I want it to be welded the back side of this back here. But we'll cut this off at an angle so we got clearance for the forks, and we'll round off these corners here. We may cut the corner off of this one at a 45 because it's not really needed out here either. So I clamped the 2 pieces together. I trimmed off the edges where they needed to be trimmed. Now we can take this off. And when I had it on the tractor, I had outlined where the weld's gonna go, so I know right where to put it back. So we're gonna have this be on the outside, and have this be on the outside. And right now, I'm gonna go ahead and assemble this. And I don't probably need these washers, but I bought them, so I'm just gonna use them. Might actually, this will go together. I do need the washers, because if I didn't have the washers, the nut wouldn't go tight. So give us some space there. Give us some space here. Looks like I should have got a 4-inch bolt instead of a 5-inch bolt. But But now what we're gonna do is we're gonna tighten these up and we're gonna go see how it looks sitting it into the assembly. So I've got, this should slide right in between here. Look at that, right where I want it. We're gonna slide this in here. All right, so it took me a minute to get my spacing set to where I had just the right clearance. I think in hindsight, the bottom pins needed to be up about another ½ an inch higher. But now the big test before I weld that all up, can I get a fork on here? And the answer is yes, I can. These need to be greased because they're new. But yeah, that slides all the way in. It's a little bit tight if this thing's up, but you know, that can be flipped down till you get it close to where it's gonna go. So I think this is gonna work really well. So I'm gonna go ahead and weld this up right now, tack weld this other side, and then weld her up, and we should be rocking and rolling. All right, it's the next morning. I let the paint dry overnight. We're gonna go ahead and put the pins back on and assemble the forks and put this thing on. Do a little demonstration of the attaching to the quick attach and attaching to the quick hitch.
there you have it. Took me about 3 hours to do this. It was a little longer than I anticipated, but I did have some time taking this video. I hope you guys appreciate that. But overall, I'm very pleased. I'm excited to get this out in the woods. Well, that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you learned something. Maybe it inspired you to try a project like this yourself. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.